Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country. Let's go ahead and learn how to memorize speeches. What's going on? Louis Angel right here with AE Mind. I'm going to be teaching you today how to memorize speeches very quickly using the same technique that all of the top mental athletes use from around the world. So what is that technique? You see, if you haven't seen any of my videos before, I'm actually going to teach you right now that the key to memorization is visualization. In order for us to memorize anything, what we do is actually we are creative storytellers, so that we create very weird, very crazy stories when we go out and we memorize random things, right? So I compete in these memory competitions, and at these memory competitions they give us like numbers, they give us poems, they give us names and faces, they give us all kinds of abstract ideas and things, and what we have to do is we have to memorize that very quickly. So we create stories to help us remember that information later on when we want to recall it, right? So I'm going to be teaching you today how to do that with a poem. Now there are 3 steps to being able to memorize anything. First step is a location. We need to have a specific location in our mind in order for us to be able to store that information that we want to remember and for easy retrieval later on. So I like to think of it like a filing cabinet, where what do you do? When you have important documents, you store them in a folder, right? You put it in a filing cabinet so that later on when you want to retrieve that, you go right back to that filing cabinet, you open up the filing cabinet, you go to that folder, and you retrieve the piece of information that you stored earlier on, say that week or that month, that year, whatever the case might have been, right? So the same thing with this. We need to create storage systems inside of our brain. It's pretty easy. I'm going to teach you how to do that in a moment. But we need to create that in order to store the information that we want to remember. Now, step 2 is visualize. Again, we're creative storytellers. I'm going to be teaching you the technique that all of the top mental athletes use, and that's essentially create stories. That's all that we do. We create stories. We use the right side of our brain a lot more than the traditional technique of just rote memorization, where you just repeat the thing over and over and over again, right? We use the creative side of our brain in order to remember this information. Let's take this number, right? 52. When I want to memorize the number 52, I don't just see 5 and a 2. I actually see some crazy story inside of my brain where I see maybe a lion climbing through a window and doing something funny, like maybe just dancing in front of everyone, right, in the living room. Very weird, very crazy story. However, when I want to remember that number 52, all I gotta say is, okay, what did I picture? Oh yeah, a lion climbing through my window. Now I translate that back into the number 52. And if you haven't seen my numbers video yet, make sure to watch that where I teach you exactly how to memorize a long number. But essentially, that's my representation for the number 52. It's a lion, right? So we're gonna do that technique with poems in a short while. Step 3 is review. In order for us to really remember something long term, we need to review that information. You see, I actually memorized a 114-digit number at the USA Memory Competition. However, because I didn't review that number, there was no reason for me to do so, because I only wanted to memorize it for that short period of time. I did know it, later on that day. However, now if you ask me what that number is, I have no clue what that number is, right? I memorized it for that day, but I didn't review, so it didn't stick. My brain was like, okay, this must not be important. Let's go ahead and remove it. Step 1, you need a location, right? So we're gonna go through our home right now and create a few locations so that we can memorize this poem that I'm about to give you. So step 1, location. So I want you to picture your home, and I want you to choose 4 rooms in this home. Now, if you haven't seen any of my videos before, or if you have, you probably already have created this before, so great, we're gonna use some of those. But if you haven't, go ahead and do that right now. So open up, imagine like you're walking right from your home, open up that door to your home, right? What is that first room that you see? Is it the living room, the kitchen? Is it the dining room? What is that first room? And then when you have that first room, I want you to choose 3 other rooms in your home. So is it the bedroom next? Is it the bathroom? Is it the backyard, your parents' bedroom? I want you to choose 4 rooms in your home right now. Label them. What are they? Room 1, room 2, room 3, room 4. Then what I want you to do is, we're gonna use room 1 as an example. I want you to choose 5 locations in your room. So room 1, if your first location is a window, so if you walk into your room and off to the left you see a window, that's going to be location number 1. What's right next to that? If it's a painting, that's going to be location number 2. Next to that, if it's a sofa, that's going to be 3. Next to that, if it's a mirror, that's going to be 4. And then next to that, if it's a TV, that's going to be 5. So that's actually my first 5 locations in my living room. So I want you to do that with each one of these rooms. Repeat that with each one of these rooms, and then when you're done with that, I want you to come back to this video and we're gonna go on to memorize this poem. Alright, perfect. So you have those locations already created. We're gonna use the first 5. Now, we created the other ones just so that you can have them for future references when you want to memorize a long poem later on. But for right now, we're just gonna memorize this 5, short location poem real quick. So visualize is the second step, right? So memorizing speeches. Today we are throwing our caps in the air, getting ready to go different ways to tackle the world head on, my friends, and to start on the very first phase of adult life with all that implies. So how do we memorize this? What we have to do is turn each one of these lines into a picture, an image. So we have here, today we are throwing our caps in the air. So in your first location, I want you to see what that first location is, right? For me, it is a window. So I'll picture maybe just hats being thrown in there. So it's a graduation speech, right? So I'll picture hats just being thrown in the air right there on my window. So just maybe hats, I'm throwing them all over my window and they're getting stuck on my window, right? I can't close my window because there's hats all over that first location. So I want you to see that in your first location. Whatever your first location is, I want you to picture just throwing hats in the air. Okay, you have that? Cool. Second one, getting ready to go different ways. So maybe just picture maybe a lane, a car lane, just split in a bunch of different ways. So picture that on your second location. So what is that for you? For me, it's a painting, right? So maybe on that painting, I have a paintbrush now and I'm just painting a car lane, just splitting off into different ways. So car lane splitting off into different ways. It symbolizes the second line, which is getting ready to go different ways. Next one is to tackle the world head on, my friend. So I want you to picture that on the third location. So we have maybe some football players right there tackling each other down, and then we have a globe right there, right? So the world. So I don't know, maybe picture the world or a globe just chilling on your sofa if that's your third location, like it is for me, or whatever your third location is. And then you have a football match going on right in front of them, and then they just tackle, the football players tackle each other onto the globe, onto the world, and they smash that third location, whatever that is for you. Maybe it's a sofa, a table, whatever that is for you. They smash all that into pieces, okay? So I want you to see that. Maybe the globe gets all mad now because the football players crash into them or tackle themselves into them, right? So to tackle the world head on, my friends. That's going to be a representation for that line. Next one is and to start on the very first phase. So maybe on your fourth location, whatever that is for you. For me, it's a mirror. So I see on the mirror, right, I see people about to go on a race. So to start on the very first phase. So it's number 1. So they're starting off and they're on the first lane or first phase, right? And you hear the gunshot, poof, and everybody goes off and runs off, right? And they're all running on this first lane. So see that very clearly on your fourth location. Last one is of adult life with all it implies. So maybe you have a baby just growing up right into an adult of adult life, and it grows up super tall and it has pliers, so it's climbing up this super tall building with pliers, right? So super tall, all of adult life with all it implies. So pliers implies, right? So that's gonna be our representation for that word. So see the baby as it's growing up, it starts climbing up a huge tall building with pliers. All right, so that's gonna be the pictures for this next phrase or line, and I want you to see that on your fifth location. Step 3 is review. So we're gonna go ahead and review this real quick. So today we are throwing our caps in there. So remember, what was on your first location? You're throwing caps, right? All onto that first location. For me, it was a window. I couldn't close my window because there was caps all over that location. So today we are throwing our caps in the air. Getting ready to go different ways. So you have a car lane splitting up. So what was the picture that I created, right? It was like a painting. So I painted a lane being split off, right? So next one was to tackle the world head on, my friends. What did we picture for that? Remember, football players tackling each other down onto this world, the globe. So to tackle the world head on, my friends. And to start on the very first phase. So you have these runners starting off, right? They're about to run and they're running on that first lane. So first phase, first lane. So, and to start on the very first phase. And what was the last one? Remember, what was on the fifth location? That's right. So you have a baby growing up into an adult and it's climbing up a building, right? With pliers. So, and of adult life with all it implies. So today we are throwing our caps in the air, getting ready to go different ways to tackle the world head on, my friends, and to start on the very first phase of adult life with all it implies. So there you go. That's pretty much the speech right there that we just memorized very quickly, right? So what do you have to do? You have to create images for each one of the lines and then store them on the location that you want to use to recall later on. So how do we create these locations? You can create them out of anything really. You walking around, town, and you see different spots as you're walking around. You can use those as locations. I've used, amusement parks. I've used doctor's offices, right? I've used all kinds of different places. I use my home. I use where I used to work at. I use that as location, right? So you create these mental locations for storage, and then you visualize the piece of information that you want to memorize. So you turn that into a picture, you store that onto the location, and then you do a quick little review, just so you can cement those images in, and then you'll have the information right there available so you can recall it later on. So that's it for speeches, how to memorize speeches very quickly. All of the top mental athletes, they use this same technique. They visualize what it is that they want to memorize, and they just recall the pictures that they created when they want to recite it later on. So if you have any questions on this, make sure to leave them here. I will actually post this, all these the slides here on this video later on, so you can easily just download them and go over them as you please. So make sure to watch all my other videos. I have videos on how to memorize numbers, how to memorize presidents' names, how to memorize biology terms, vocabulary words, all kinds of different videos here to help you just improve your memory overall. So that's it for right now. I am out. See you on the next video. Keep learning, keep growing. Let's go. I'm out.